Welcome to episode 2, where we are carrying on our conversation about pregnancy, and today we'll be talking about second trimester. So for me, the whole pregnancy was a strange experience because it really did change what I was craving, how I was feeling, and I generally follow more of a pescatarian diet, and I do like learning about nutrition and thinking more about what sort of nutrients the body is getting rather than calories. Like the whole world is talking about calories. Calories is just energy. Your body, cells need actual nutrients to function and all that. But anyway, this is not a lecture on nutrition. What happened for me in the second trimester? So after I did my detox, not intentionally, my body forced me to.
We like that one.
Yeah, we like it. Yeah, I tend to use that a lot. That phrase. Yeah, so I've detoxed, and then my body started doing strange things. I think I was not fond of carbs because one of the first things, like I couldn't stand rice for some reason. So the smell of rice. Yeah, I love rice. I mean, even now, rice is a great addition with fish or whatever, salad and stuff. No, but I couldn't stand the smell of it. Like the smell was just overbearing. Anything to do with meat was disgusting for me. I mean, I'm not really, I don't eat much meat anyway, but I just remember even walking on the street and there was like a kebab. Not just the smell, just looking at the kebab. I thought, oh my God, I'm just gonna throw up. This is, and I said, we're crossing the road. I can't even walk past.
Wow.
Just seeing kebabs. Yeah, it was just horrible. But at this stage, this is when, your belly starts growing and you start feeling the movement and everything. And it was really interesting because Romana mentioned something in the first trimester and she says, I felt whole. It's like this blessing. I felt whole. And it's like, I cannot relate to that because nor do I think they are particularly a blessing. Neither, nor do I did I feel particularly whole, because actually the experience of him moving, it actually felt really quite separate. That wasn't it felt this strange, I'm like a host for this being.
Oven.
Yeah.
You're just cooking this little bun.
Well,
yeah. Because it has hands and legs.
I don't know, cooking, not cooking. I mean, it was it was a strange experience because you feel this movement and it's so odd. It is really very strange. That did not make me feel whole.
It didn't feel like butterflies.
Oh no, like proper movement.
Oh, when it was like stronger.
Yeah, before that I didn't feel any flattering or any butterflies. No. Straight
not
to
the ones you
straight to a little animal. Yeah, so all that movement, but I did start to eat other foods, and I started craving like even dumplings, so that did have meat in it. So I guess as long as it didn't look like meat, my body was okay with it. But I wasn't okay. I didn't really want with my mind to have dumplings. I really wanted to have salads and nutritious foods and
But you were craving these dumplings.
But I was craving them. Yeah.
I remember you were craving Mackey's ice cream.
Yeah, that's another thing. So I was getting to this. So sugar is not something I'm fond of. It's, I mean, I don't like it from, in general, I do think it's highly addictive. I think it's not doing anything for us, just like alcohol. I think sugar is one of those horrid things. People do say it's more addictive than, or as addictive as cocaine even.
It's probably worse.
Yeah.
Because
it's an everyday thing and
it's so easy to have.
It's so easy and it's in all the foods now. Anyway, that's again not a lecture on nutrition. I maybe either I've trained myself to not like sugar particularly, I'm not sure, or I just came to this belief. But generally, I don't like sugar and I don't eat it. Not just because I believe it's bad, but I genuinely do not crave it. So it's very rare for me to have even a piece of chocolate or anything. If we go out, I always think, okay, I will try dessert. But when it comes to dessert, I'm like, really not. I'll just have a tea. So I just genuinely don't like it. However, second trimester, my goodness, ice cream. And I was like, wow, this is definitely your baby, I was saying to my husband, because one of his favorite sugary sort of foods is ice cream. That he's obviously trying not to eat too much of, as he's aware that it's not that healthy for you. But still, I was like, wow, this is insane. I cannot believe I'm watching this. And actually, like Romana also mentioned the fact that she didn't think much about nutrition, just as long as I eat, as long as, I bulk up. Whereas for me, it was I was thinking about it a lot, and I felt a lot of guilt around that because I wasn't eating how I wanted to eat, and I just couldn't do anything about it. I just couldn't.
You had no control.
And kind of Sean, my husband, indulged a little bit, like, you want ice cream, go for it. And also because I wasn't eating too much, I think the ice cream, now thinking back, was an overcompensation in calories, quite possibly. Because, you know, I would eat just very small amounts, everything would be just so, doesn't smell right. And then I would have the ice cream and it, I don't know, brought some sort of more of a satisfaction, I don't know, but I still feel bad about it, and nothing much I could do about it. But when all the movement started and this slight change with the food and these new cravings that were not so healthy that came in, as I've mentioned in the first trimester, everything that like small, not exactly an illness, but like, for example, I have issues with the skin on my hands and things like that.
Do they get really dry? Or...
Yeah, no, it's like skin, like a skin condition, if you like. So it gets really dry, it starts cracking. I even have like blood and things. It's very uncomfortable. Yeah. So I started getting all of that. So everything like re-emerged throughout my pregnancy. So anything I've ever experienced, all came throughout the pregnancy. So, then constipation is something I suffered. It got worse, progressively worse, but it's the worst that I have ever experienced it. I also got a urinary tract infection at this stage. And the worst part of it is because you're pregnant, like the doctors really don't want to give you anything, and they try to wait for as long as possible for it to sort of pass. And with the urinary tract infection, it was so painful, and I would be on the phone, I was like, please, like with the doctors, what can I do? It's just so horrifying and so painful. And they're like, oh, just have some cranberry juice, you know, just have cranberry juice. I'm like,
it wasn't helping.
It wasn't helping. I did have to resort to medicine, and
that they prescribed?
They have prescribed. Yeah, it got to a really bad stage, but it's like, why did it have to get to that level? I mean, I already knew it was painful, I already knew it was really bad, but it still got to that level.
So I suppose they try to, if you can, go the route without medicine.
To
do it. Well, with me, they actually missed it. You know, I went for the check and they missed the UTI. So when I went again, they said, oh no, you have a UTI. And this showed up. This then caused a problem later on in the third trimester when I was in labor.
But hold on, I have a question before we get to the pregnancy. How do you miss a UTI? Like, I couldn't miss it. When I had it, I was in so much pain immediately, like and for a while until I got the medicine.
So I think because I was already having issues, so one thing for me that I didn't know if it was normal or not was pain during sex. I didn't know, so maybe that's why I missed the UTI.
Oh, that might be like thrush, isn't that different?
It wasn't thrush, because I did go to him and I was like, you know, is this normal to be experiencing this pain, you know?
Yeah, like burning?
Yeah, it was burning, and it was like tearing, like, I don't know, it just felt really painful, and it was like inside it was hitting a wall. Do you know, it was like hitting into something. So I didn't know if like something had lowered inside, my uterus had lowered or dropped, and that's what, I don't know, it was really weird. But I went to the doctor a few times and they didn't really like diagnose it or anything. It was just like, because you're pregnant, like it could just be what your body's going through. Yeah. So maybe that's why I missed the UTI, because afterwards, like, oh my God, like, so after intercourse, the pain after I would wee, I was in tears. Like, I would be like, ow, ow, ow. And it was burning like cuts, like cuts. Yeah, but exactly. It would only be after intercourse.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So that maybe that's why I kind of missed it, and maybe because I was used to the pain, I couldn't get used to I think pain. The UTI was like not as bad.
Well, I did promise unsexy, so there you have it.
Yeah. I remember even asking my friend, I was like, with the first pregnancy, I was like, do you kind of still do it? You know, while you're pregnant, like, is it fine? Is it a thing? Yeah, it's fine. It's all normal as it was. It's like, so why am I in pain? You know, why is this difficult? Why am I going through this? And I still don't know why. I don't know why. Yeah. And the doctors couldn't even tell me why. It was just like kind of brushed off when I went, you know, for a checkup, and I said, you know, this is what's going on. When I was now in labor, that's what caused all the complications. Or one of the things that caused all the complications. Zara's heartbeat was fluctuating, and she was getting weaker, she was getting tired, and I think the infection, I don't know if she was now getting the infection or something, because when she was born she had to have antibiotics.
Oh my
so
goodness.
They literally, I didn't even hold her after the C-section. They took her away and put a cannula in, and we had antibiotics for 3 days, so I had to stay in for 3 days.
Oh wow.
So this, I think I still had the UTI at this point, and I think it was too late in the pregnancy for them to give me anything.
Oh wow.
With the second trimester, so with my first pregnancy, I went off things like tea, so something that I really liked, but I was drinking more milk. So I was craving the lamb and the spicy KFC wings. With the second one, I just really wanted chili. Like everything I had to have chili in it.
Oh my goodness.
And I was scared that it was going to affect the baby. But then I read something that someone was having hotter chili and it was fine. But I really wanted chili with every single meal. And I wanted burgers. Like massive. We used to get, where we lived before we moved, they had in the fish and chip shop, they did these massive cheeseburgers, and I would eat 2 with chips. And I would be hungry like half an hour to an hour later.
Well, he's a big boy. He looks like you ate 2 burgers at a time.
Okay. And it does make sense, because with my second pregnancy, I did put on, I think it was something between 20 and 25 kgs. I put on in my second pregnancy.
Yeah, that's
With my
bit.
first pregnancy, I put on 12 kgs.
So you doubled it.
Yeah. And he's double the size of her. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense, but
yeah.
whoa. So anyway, that was sort of the food cravings. I did want that a lot. But I didn't, so with my first one, I wanted the milk. Second one, not so much milk. I didn't really want, I was fine with tea, but I wasn't having as much milk, because I would drink glasses of milk when I was pregnant with my daughter, but not so much with my son. And that probably comes from my daughter having an allergy to cow's milk. So maybe that was kind of playing in my mind just in case. So I was laying off it a little bit, but then I didn't even want it.
To the third trimester.
Yes.
So for me, that was probably the nicer time, because I've already gotten used to eating how I was eating, and it was getting better. I still couldn't stand rice, I still couldn't stand any kind of meat, but I was starting to be able to eat a little bit of fish. Like I couldn't eat fish before, so it got better with the food in the last trimester in that sense. Didn't really have nausea. But now, obviously, the stomach is getting quite big. We also managed to travel. So my husband and I managed to get away for a week. So that was really nice. And then he couldn't come the other time. I actually managed to fly out and meet with some of my friends. So that was really nice. And now I do treasure those 2 trips, because once the baby came, obviously there wasn't much movement, and then COVID and blah blah. But I do, so the biggest stomach, I do remember more strain on the back, so I did go to see an osteopath a couple of times, so that really helped. My advice if you're starting to feel some discomfort, don't wait until it gets unpleasant. Like for me personally, really helped just to go immediately to see an osteopath, and just doing just a few adjustments how they do really helped me. And so every time I was just acutely aware. I was really in tune with my body at this point. I was really feeling what was happening.
So you started to enjoy it more, slightly?
No, never enjoyed. Pregnancy was not enjoyable for me, but this was easier. Yeah, so it was just an easier period.
Yeah.
And of course you could see the stomach really move, like it was really like this. Sometimes you would see hands and feet. We didn't see so much hands and feet
like the actual print of
the actual print we didn't see, but it was like my stomach would be like massive waves like this,
It's weird when that happens.
He was really moving like that.
Oh.
So it was a more positive experience, but the bigger stomach brings kind of like a bigger physical, not issues necessarily, but the feel in the body was like more extreme. Like for example, even with going to the toilet, constantly running to pee, and they say, "Oh, drink plenty of fluids," and I couldn't bring myself to bring that many fluids because it's like constantly running to the toilet.
I know. What about peeing in the blinking test tubes? When you had to go for the appointments and you got this massive gut, right, and you're on the toilet.
Oh, I didn't have to do that.
You didn't have to do urine samples when you went for your checkups. And you have to pee in that little test tube. So you're sitting on a
didn't
dirty toilet in the hospital, and you got to get your hand in the toilet, and you can't see because your stomach is like in the way. I mean.
Maybe a couple of times. Yeah, you're right. There
You
was
pee
some
on your
basic
hands,
checkups, but I
like-
didn't have anything particular. I didn't have anything
iron, that was the
problems with throughout pregnancy at all. So I did the bare minimum that's required.
See, I had that was the other thing I was going to say, iron. I was low in iron, so I had to take iron tablets, and that caused constipation.
Well, interesting, because you were craving burgers. I wonder if the fact that iron is in meat, right? I wonder if...
Yeah, but so when they did the count, like it was quite low, and I had to actually take tablets. I think it was like 2 a day or something, and I reduced it to 1 myself. I mean, I probably shouldn't have, but I was so constipated. Like, it would be a tiny... Sorry, too much information, but it'd be a tiny little poo, but the pain of it coming out, like it had thorns, and it was from these iron tablets. I was like, no. So I reduced it to 1. So that was another thing with both pregnancies. I had to have the iron tablets.
My constipation was super severe. I can't even explain how severe it was. Like, I wouldn't poop for 3, 4, 5 days. And then, yeah, really bad, to a point that actually the doctor said I should have come earlier, but I just thought I should limit any medication. So I really tried to kind of live with it, but this was the wrong thing to do. And so they did give me something that I could take, but it was just not just painful. Genuinely, my husband, especially in the last trimester, he genuinely was concerned that I might just give birth. It didn't feel like I would, but what I had to go through, and with the pushing, I even had to like bring out like a little table just to readjust, like to find positions. Yeah, to find positions just to be pushing. And this could go on for like half an hour, 40 minutes. And it was really painful. Yeah, seriously. When we were on the trip, you know, we had to find stacks of books just for me to put my legs up to be pushing.
I can just
and with
picture
the
with
stomach,
and you're like...
Yeah. Trying to get it to different, yeah.
I mean, I really wanted to know that.
Yeah, it's funny now, but it was great when she's laughing at my pain. lovely.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
Second time round, I was definitely a lot bigger.
Romana was like a house walking around. Like, she's a tiny lady, but with the second pregnancy, wow. I
thought with the first one I was quite big. I carried quite big for the first pregnancy.
It was good. Yeah, from my perspective.
It was more round. It was like quite a neat bump. And then come second one, it was an odd shape. It was like an alien was in there. I'd never seen a shape like, even my mother-in-law was like, that is not normal. Like, what kind of shape is that? Like, I was huge. And with Zara, I could walk, like, I worked in the second trimester just to kind of stop clock watching a little bit. So I worked a part-time job in a charity, and I would walk up, because we're in the same complex as my husband. It's so weird how it worked out. Like, he got a job, and then a few days later, I got a job in the same complex. So I was at a charity, and he was at a car leasing company. So I would walk up to the on-site sort of cafeteria place for lunch.
Just bump into him.
And I finished at 5.
Bump him with your bump.
And I finished at 5, and he finished at 5:30. So I would take a slow walk to, you know, and I worked right up until maybe 2 to 4 weeks before I actually gave birth. So I worked quite right up to the end, because it was quite cushy. They were so understanding, so like, whatever you need, it was so lovely. They were really nice. With the second pregnancy, I could hardly do much walking. Time I got to 8 months, I was that big, like I felt tired a lot of the time. Like,
well, of course, I mean, that's a lot of extra kilograms.
Yeah, 20, it was 20 to 25 kilograms.
So did you find the challenge also with it pressing on the bladder and needing to pee quite a lot and quite often, or not so much for you?
I did. I was peeing quite a lot. And I remember with the first one, like, we'd go for walks, and I hate to admit that I had to pee in the bush. Yeah. Once, twice, maybe 3 times, and you got this massive gut. I had to get my husband to like hang on to his arm while I'm doing a squat in the bush, and I'm trying to like flying things, because he's trying to get right deep in so you're not being seen. And I'm like this squatting away doing my wee, and you feel so much better. So that was one worry. Like, every time I went to a park or on long walks, I needed a toilet, because I every time I'll do a wee before I leave. And then I'm walking, I'm like, oh, I need to pee again. And it was the worst thing, like when you're far from the toilet. So
exactly.
that was a thing.
Yeah, I was trying to be really careful because I couldn't even sit through, like say half of the show to wait until the break to go and pee, like in the theater or whatever. So that was quite difficult. I needed to run and find toilets quite a lot. So then I started planning wherever we go that we do there are toilets. Yeah. I wanted to drink more, but I was also afraid to drink more. And for me, I did need to run to the toilet. It felt like every 5 minutes. It really felt like
You mentioned the osteopath.
Yeah.
I never saw anyone, but I had quite bad back pain. Like, you know, it's like, because it comes with pregnancy, it's kind of like it's a normal thing, just kind of deal with it.
But it's a shame that it's seen as normal. We shouldn't be in pain. You know, how is it okay that you, for example, were, you know, with this UTI infection and you carried on feeling the pain, you know, with the potentially thrush, or I'm not sure what it was, or whatever it was that was causing it, you know, and also, you know, it's just expected that we're in pain. There are things that we can do. There are people that we can see. And like the osteopath really helped me. Like I started to feel uncomfortable, but it was pretty much fixed for me. So it's just a shame that you had to, you know, carry on feeling pain. And I think this is part of the advice. You know, you don't have to be in pain. Pregnancy can be nice, it can be okay. There are all these other things, all these changes that you're going through in a hormonal way, and, you know, physically, obviously, emotionally, because you're preparing to be a mother, you know, how you're feeling and all of that. Matrescence, see our post.
Yes.
So all these changes are taking place. So there is no need to then also add all these additional discomforts. You know, you're going through enough. So my personal advice, definitely seek help, ask people, talk to other women, you know, did you experience this pain? How can I, you know, how can I help myself? You know, there are even these belts that you could wear to support the back and all sorts of things. I remember one of my friends.
You gave one to me, I think you used to use that, didn't you?
Yeah.
And it did help.
Different cushions for at night and things like that, you know, whatever.
That's what I resorted to.
Do everything to make yourself feel comfortable. Everything, anything that you can think of, you know, make yourself, you know, feel a little bit more comfortable, because the whole process, it is delicate, it's important, but also, you know, you want to feel good, you know, you don't want to feel pain. So
not any more than.
So I'm outraged that she was in pain and she thought it was normal. Outraged.
Yeah, I remember the doctors weren't concerned, so you just think, okay, kind of roll with the flow, you know, just go with it. But yeah, so the back pain, I remember, you know, really suffering. Like, I had this pregnancy pillow, getting your leg up. I used to try and get my leg up on Dean, but then he was like, you're so heavy. Like, I mean, I had pounds on, so he was like, and he would feel hot and he'd feel stuck. So, and one thing I also used to worry about was lying on my back. Because after the 28 weeks or something, or 24, you can't be, you know, flat on your back. It's advised, I think, you know.
I think so, yes. Better to be on the side, yeah,
your left side, they say, is better. So I try, but obviously either side, whichever side is comfortable, but I tried to make it a point to sleep on my left side, but I found that me wanting to sleep on my left side made me want to sleep on my right side, but it was fine, so I did. And then the odd occasion I would wake up on my back, I would be like, you know, I'd be quite scared, like, you know, have I done something, because it was like, you know, it's not very good. So yeah, that was...
It's interesting that you mentioned sleep. Because for me, I go through like a little routine to fall asleep. I think maybe everybody does, yeah. But I start off on my stomach. I know it's not great, but I don't know why it feels so comfortable.
Yeah,
I don't sleep on the stomach. No. Generally, my sleep routine. But I did manage to do it for the first trimester. In the first trimester, I did manage to do it. So I lie on my stomach, and then I go through like a full 360. So I lie there for a bit. I start relaxing, you know, this is my comfort thing. Then I turn to this side, then I lie there, then on my back, then this side. Occasionally I would go, if I haven't fallen asleep by then, I would start the whole cycle again.
So which position do you actually fall asleep in?
Oh, you never know. It depends where I was in the 360 cycle. You know, occasionally I do fall asleep on the stomach, but I do move out of it. So that that was hard for me from the second trimester
Because you
onwards,
couldn't do that.
because I couldn't do it, and it was really excruciatingly hard for me
I
because it's
think-
such a comfort routine for me to fall asleep, and so yeah, that was uncomfortable.
I think a lot of us find that, like, you just want that moment when you can sleep on your stomach again. But do you know what was odd? Even after I gave birth, and I wanted to sleep on my stomach, like I longed for it, I wanted to, but it didn't feel normal until a few weeks on.
Yeah.
After the birth, like I think we go that long without sleeping on your stomach, and then I suppose with the stitches and the C-section and whatnot, it wasn't as comfortable. But it's like I still wanted to, but then it didn't feel normal. So I think it was also because of.
I think the
surgery.
first month after, I mean, we will have the actual birth episode as well, part section. We'll have it separately, but I do want to just to add. For me, I don't even remember what it would be like to sleep on my stomach or not, because the first month was so traumatic for me. All I remember is pain and sleep deprivation and just horror of the experience, just the whole thing. So I don't even remember, honestly. It was, if I managed to sleep at all, it didn't even matter how or where or what, it was just as long as it happened.
You should mention that. Like, you not want to kind of sleep anywhere, but you would actually fall asleep in places you wouldn't normally.
That's not to do with pregnancy at all. I just love sleeping, so I could fall asleep anywhere. In the car, on the bus.
Me too.
That's nothing to do with pregnancy, but it was a whole different thing after.
It probably goes back to the thing of what you said before about you wanting a child and how you actually experience it.
Yeah.
So because you didn't really want it, you weren't sure, and then to have this horrid experience, I don't know if it's linked, but it's just like.
Yeah, it wasn't a horrid experience necessarily. It was a normal experience. You have a baby. We'll talk about birth. Everything was not normal, like you will see. We have our stories there as well. But the main thing is, it felt like horror because I wasn't prepared for the pain. I wasn't prepared for sleep deprivation and what it actually means. Like, I knew that mothers didn't sleep enough, but I didn't really know what it meant and how it felt. So that felt like the end of the world. But not because it was a horrid experience. That's the thing. So now I know, now that we've started this channel, we've learned about matrescence, and I'll keep on mentioning it because it's such an important thing that really changed things for me. So now I know it was a natural, normal transition. But I think I would have helped myself if I was a little bit better prepared and if I wanted it just a little bit more. And I think I was maybe arriving at that point. But then how can we question life? Things happen. It happened like this for a reason. We have an amazing child. He's really lovely, absolutely amazing boy. So I can't,
So now he's a
really
blessing.
say that. Not quite. Not quite. I'd call him a challenge.
But you like a challenge.
But I do like a challenge. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So this was our second and third trimester. These were our stories, what we got from our experiences, what we've learned from each other.
And how to cope with it. Don't be in pain. That's one of the key things. Always, talk to people, to professionals, to friends, to family. Anything that's uncomfortable for you. Try to find ways to help yourself. You do not have to suffer.
Yes, definitely.
You're going through enough. All the changes that are happening, it's plenty to be dealing with. So, help yourself as much as you can.
I agree. So we hope to see you in the next one.
Yeah. See you soon.
Doodles.
While Romana is snacking on a biscuit.
Snack break.
Yeah, she was just saying, would you like a biscuit? And I am not a fan of biscuits or anything sweet, which I just was trying to tell Romana that it's a bit of a contradiction as to what I'm about to say now when it comes to the second trimester. The pregnancy experience. So, okay, let's scratch that. Start from the beginning.
Yeah, let's start again.
Yeah, I'll take.
Oh, I'll get the words out right.